This podcast is part of the Red 5 Network. For more Red 5 Network podcasts, visit red5network.com.
Welcome to the Lord Be With You podcast show, also known as Christian Fandom Geek on YouTube. Just watching the finale episode of Obi-Wan Kenobi, episode 6. I did say in a previous episode 6 and 7. Don't know where I got episode 7 from, unless there's going to be a bonus episode that they've not told us about, which would be amazing. I'm halfway through the episode, and I've enjoyed the episode. I've just watched the lightsaber battle between Obi-Wan Kenobi and Darth Vader, which was a very good lightsaber battle. Really good lightsaber battle. Probably one of the best lightsaber battles of the sort of new era under Kathleen Kennedy of Disney Lucasfilm. It was very emotional, it was very intense. It felt real. It felt like there was a lot of emotion involved in it. It was the finale part of it, really, of Obi-Wan overpowering Darth Vader, Anakin Skywalker, was very emotional. And the moment when he slices Darth Vader's helmet and he sees Anakin's face, and they bring in Hayden Christensen's voice in as well, was really good storytelling. One of the few things they've really got really right. Just before that moment when Obi-Wan was buried under the rocks, and it seemed like obviously Darth Vader thought Obi-Wan was dead. He thought he'd killed him. Obi-Wan had to reach deep down, and he thought about Leia, and he thought about the past few weeks of his adventure. Now, this was a missed opportunity. At that moment in time, they could have went deep. They could have went quite spiritual. They could have brought in Qui-Gon Jinn, brought in Liam Neeson, but maybe he used his voice, or even Yoda, or somebody linked to the deeper mythology of Star Wars. And what they did was a cop-out. They just went to him thinking about Leia, a kid that he's just mentioned, that he's just met, I don't know, a week or a few weeks ago. To me, that is a real cop-out. Don't get me wrong, love Leia. I have no issues with the young Leia at all. I think she's a good actress, and I've enjoyed how she's played the role. There's probably been a little bit too much of an over-emphasis of her character, but nevertheless, I had no real issues with Leia. But at that moment, yes, I believe, yes, he would be motivated to make sure that Leia gets to her father. I get that. So I think that could have been part of the motivation, but they seem to make out like Leia was the whole of the motivation. And I think, come on, guys, the whole season of this show, he's been calling out for Qui-Gon Jinn. He's been talking to him, he's saying, that was the moment really for me. Now, maybe there's about 20-25 minutes left of this episode, so maybe there's a Qui-Gon moment at the end of the episode or whatever, I don't know. But the way that the episode's gone thus far, that seems to me a wasted opportunity, where they could have brought a lot of depth and they could have really did something deep, almost, like I say, almost spiritual in terms of in context to Star Wars and the lore and canon of Star Wars, if they'd gone to a sort of metaphysical level, go in deep on the Force. Even if you had Leia as part of it, but you could have went to Yoda, you could have there's so many different ways you could have gone to. I mean, obviously, or if you're going, okay, Yoda's still around at this point in time, he hasn't ascended, that's fine, so he's not going to necessarily have any kind of connection over the top with Yoda, but certainly Qui-Gon Jinn, really for me, go with Qui-Gon. And actually, you could have thought about Yoda, because obviously Yoda's still around, he's still his Jedi, his master in a way, so he's still on Dagobah, he's still around, so he could have thought about Yoda's teachings, Yoda's voice could have come in there. Gosh, you could have even brought in Mace Windu in terms of, his conversation with him, his thoughts and whatever. And I think for me, what it highlights is a reluctance to go outside of their own contemporary writing and ideas. They're reluctant to use ideas from the sequel trilogy. They're even slightly reluctant to use ideas from the original trilogy. So it seems almost like they're only wanting to consider ideas that fit in with their current narrative. They're not willing to go to the deeper mythology of Star Wars, which I think is a huge mistake. They could have made that moment really deep and would have had a great resonance with all Star Wars fans across all generations who have been into Star Wars, including the older OT fans, original trilogy fans, and they wasted that opportunity. Having said that, I enjoyed the lightsaber battle. I enjoyed the technique of it. The flow of it was better. The music was good. It felt like there was emotion. When Obi-Wan got out of the situation where he was buried by the rocks, that felt like very much a hero's journey moment. It literally was the hero's journey. He'd literally, got almost buried alive. And then he's had his apotheosis moment when he's risen up, almost raptured. He's thrown those rocks up there away. He's jumped up like super high, force jumping, and then when he's attacking Vader with those rocks, that was his apotheosis moment. He's reached his apex. This is a strong Obi-Wan. Now, I like this. I like that they finally showed us a badass Obi-Wan Kenobi, and even Vader acknowledges it in the fight and says, "You found your strength, Obi-Wan." It was good to see. It was good to see a dominant, strong alpha Jedi with the Force as his ally. This is what we wanted to see in The Last Jedi when we were talking about Luke Skywalker. Kathleen Kennedy, Rian Johnson. This is what we wanted to see. We wanted to see a dominant, strong Luke with the Force as his ally. Kind of like what we've seen in the Mandalorian TV show with Luke Skywalker. So for that, I'm saying well done. Yeah, you showed me, and I would say in terms of the story arc, I would have liked to have seen a stronger Obi-Wan sooner, but because I've stuck with the show, and other fans, some of the fans have stuck with the show, we finally got that dominant, strong Obi-Wan Kenobi, and that was good. That was positive, and it was good. I gotta say, I gotta give you credit where credit's due. You did that well. So I'm going to watch the rest of this episode anyway, and I will be getting back to you to see what I think about the rest of the show. But so far, good episode, great lightsaber battle, really good emotion in there, very emotional scene with Obi-Wan's reaction to Anakin, and that Anakin kind of told him, "Dude, it wasn't your fault. It was my decision to be Darth Vader." In one sense, that would be a potential relief to Obi-Wan Kenobi, because he had a genuine moment of compassion. It's like, oh, Anakin, he remembered that's his Padawan. He loved him as a friend, as a brother, as an ally, as a hero of the Republic, and a Jedi legend in the making. And he remembered he wasn't just fighting a machine and a villain. He was fighting his friend, and that was a really emotional moment, and very, very touching, very emotive. That was well done. That was very well done. And I know they cover that in, I think it is, I don't know if it's Rebels or Clone Wars, where they obviously echoing the moment where Ahsoka fights against Vader, and the same thing happens where she cuts off part of his helmet and sees Anakin underneath, and it's like they've obviously, that's very much probably a Dave Filoni thing there, influence going in on that one there, on to Deborah Chow, to do with sort of referencing the animated shows. Well done, very well done. So some things you've done really well, but like I say, you could have gone a bit deeper, and you could have linked it to Qui-Gon Jinn or the OT, or anyone from the OT, or even the prequels. That would have gone really, really well. So I'll be back with you again very soon on this episode on the Lord Be With You podcast show, also known as Christian Fandom Geek on YouTube.